Welcome to Season 2 of the Biz Show, sponsored by Invest Choir. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Good morning, Barry. How are you today?
I am good, Lisa. How are you?
Good. I see the sunshine. I can actually see Catalina Island. It's so clear out.
Wow, that's a good thing, man.
It's a gorgeous day outside, everybody. We have sunshine this weekend.
It's going to be a gorgeous weekend. Today's already started out very beautiful.
Yes, we better enjoy it while it lasts because I think you mentioned there's a storm coming on Monday and we may get some wet weather again.
Yeah, we may. Well, let's jump into it, right?
Yeah, so I know that we all need to incorporate some resources or techniques to not get burned out on our jobs or get burned out on our daily routines. So Barry, you were going to mention about how you deal with that. How do you reset your buttons so that you can bring your best to the table?
Yeah, I'll definitely mention that, and I know that you're going to as well. Just a couple statistics real fast before we jump into that, right?
Sure.
Statistics wise, 42% of entrepreneurs or business owners are always feeling stressful or stressed out. That's
Right?
a lot, right?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
don't realize it sometimes.
you and I feel it all the time too, and it's for various different reasons. It doesn't really matter, but stress plays a role into it. And
Yeah,
then
sometimes you just go through and you don't realize you're stressed and you just keep trying to work at that level.
let me ask you a question. How many hours a week do you work?
Well, in a self-employed position, I would have to say that you never get a full block of time off. So work is happening even when you're doing leisure activities. And so it's hard to track. It really is hard. I don't want to like overestimate and say, oh, I work 24/7 because obviously I'm sleeping, for 5, 6 hours a night. But I think that it's constantly on my mind. It's constantly I'm playing it, the list of things to do or something I forgot to do the previous day. So I feel like I am constantly working. So I think, I work in blocks just like everybody else. I work, the traditional hours between 8 and 5 or maybe 10 to 4 or something like that. Because I try to incorporate things that keep me balanced, like going to the gym in the morning or taking a walk with the dog. So yeah, I'm not punching a time clock by no means.
Yeah, definitely, and I'll say I'll work about 60 hours a week, and sometimes even 70 hours a week. But, statistics wise, 63% of entrepreneurs and business owners work more than 50 hours a week.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're trying to run a ship and have it be successful, or you're building a business, I mean, you are definitely there every day.
Right.
I mentioned I am definitely, present in my business every single day. Sometimes I feel the burnout, and I'm like, I'm going to try to take Monday off, but it never works because if somebody
Boy,
needs me,
you and I are a lot alike when it comes to that. The
yeah,
best laid plans, right?
true.
So how do we spot it, right? I mean, it's hard for me to spot things that can cause me to burn out, and I'm sure it is for you too, right? But there are some telltale signs that business owners can look out for, right? Number one is they're constantly exhausted all the time. They're just tired, even after they wake up in the morning or whatever. They're still just like run down.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
You feel that sometimes. I know I do.
Yeah, but you have to show up, and you're showing up kind of at, 25% of your ability, or maybe I've shown up
Right.
at 0% of my ability, and I've just, you just have to like plow through it. But we don't want that to happen. We could try to provide these tips today on our podcast of how to prevent it from happening, more, frequently. And so we want to help you guys out because we have to pay attention to that. Otherwise, you're not really doing a good job or a good service to your clients.
True. I don't think I've ever operated at 0% capacity, but maybe I have, because at that point you're just saying, screw it, I'm not doing anything today, right? And you're moving on to doing something different. The
Yeah.
next thing, and I have not seen this out of myself or out of you, are mood swings, right? You're irritable or you're in a really bad mood and things like that. And more so in your that phase than you are in a happy phase.
Well,
And you
Barry,
are always happy.
that's what people say. And then when I do get frustrated, they're like, "Oh my gosh, why are you so mad?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not perfect. I can't be happy all the time. I do have feelings."
This is
Um,
true.
and so I guess, my son could attest to that because we live and work together. And so he gets to see all the different variations of Lisa. And sometimes I do have a mood that is not pleasant to be around. And, it does probably come from burnout and from stress, right? Because you're not able to properly, digest the event that you're dealing with or, find the resource to deal with it or how to resolve the problem. So you just kind of flip out.
Yeah.
And some cuss words might come flying out of my mouth. But yeah, so we have to be aware of when we are feeling irritable and having a mood swing, it's probably just from a burnt out feeling of stress and not being able to properly handle it as you normally would, right?
Right. You know, um, there's a lot of things that play into this, right? Not and there's, the mood swings. Also, your motivation is declined, or you just don't have the passion for your business anymore. Also, neglecting your health. Maybe you're not eating like you're supposed to eat. I mean, sometimes my meals are very sporadic, right? Like today, unfortunately, I've been on the go early this morning. I haven't even gotten breakfast yet.
You haven't had any breakfast. What about coffee?
I do have my coffee right here in my hand, so maybe that's considered breakfast.
I know it's a necessity. It just
It
keeps the blood flowing.
it is. One of the big things for business owners too is avoiding making decisions or procrastinating. And we should probably have just an entire podcast on
Yeah,
these topics, right? Because
definitely.
procrastinating and avoiding decisions can tank your company very easily. For
Yeah,
instance, if you got an employee who is a bad seed in your business and he's ruining the attitudes and the mood and everything else of your other employees, if you're procrastinating or avoiding making a decision to discipline them, then it's just going to grow, right? Like a cancer, that's going to grow and it's going to fester and it's going to affect more and more people. So the faster you get to it, the faster you can triage the problem and move on.
yes, this is so true. I mean, you feel like you don't have the time. I think that's where that comes from. Procrastination is, I don't have the time to deal with it right now. But you're actually doing a big disservice to the operations of your company when you're not handling some of the more important problems as they occur. They just become insurmountable then, and you could you'd have to start doing damage control before you could even get to the problem, right?
Right. So then you got to as you said, do the damage control. You got to figure out A, what's wrong. B, you got to fix that. But then you got to go back and fix all the other things that it broke along the way. So it
Yeah.
becomes a bigger problem to solve.
Yeah, I think a lot of our personal maybe triggers or weaknesses kind of come to the surface in those situations, and you don't even realize it. But you may have a lack of, tools to be able to deal with things when they're occurring. And so there may be a better person fit for the job, for the discussion with the employee, for handling a certain customer, right? You may have somebody else on your team that would be better articulating what needs to be fixed with the actual person.
You said a great point, and something else that kind of popped in my head while you were talking there, and we've had a podcast on this before, is about the imposter syndrome, right? You as a business owner might not feel you have the skill set to deal with it, or you might not feel you're good enough to deal with it. So yeah, maybe you got to seek out somebody else on your team
Right.
to help you. And guess what? You don't have to go this alone, right? If you build a team, then you have other people that can help you.
Yes, exactly. I
And
deal
that's
with
one.
that sometimes myself. I think, because I put a lot of emotion and passion behind what I do. And so sometimes I feel like I should not have this conversation because I don't want to get emotional and I want to stay professional and I want to stick with the facts and get to the resolution space. And then I think, you know what, I have these conversations with myself. Hopefully all of you understand this, but I try to say, you know what, Lisa, this is an opportunity for growth, to actually maybe push yourself to be the one to have the conversation, so you could flex a muscle that you're not used to flexing, and, you know, work on keeping the emotion out of it and try to grow in that space. Yeah, muscles, baby. Nobody can see this, but Barry was flexing his huge bicep.
You mean fat bicep?
No, I saw muscles there.
Okay. So
But
you
yeah,
know, here's the thing. All of that affects your business, right? And how does it
yeah,
affect your business? Well, it's going to affect your business because it's going to affect, you know, the business itself and things not getting done or taken care of that need to get done. It's also going
yeah.
to affect your employees because they're going to feed off of your attitude, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
exactly.
then that's going to lower morale and get them in bad moods or stress them out. And then it's also going to push your customers away. You might not know it, but you know, they're going to see, and they're going to see when you come in all the time, either you're moody or you're not talkative or you're in a grumpy mood, and eventually they're going to go somewhere else because they don't want to be around all that negativity.
Yeah, or it's contagious, like you said, in the whole office or the whole company becomes having a low morale, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, ways that we can fix this, right? So there's a couple different things, and I know you got your things that work for you. I have my things that work for me, you know, and then there's some generic stuff out there, you know, if you look at Business 101 and you take a look at this and they say, okay, well, you know, make sure you set your boundaries, delegate, you know, make sure your health is in check, um, and seek professional support, whether that professional support is a psychologist or a consultant or a coach or a mentor like you and I. But
Yeah.
that said, you know, here's the things that work for me, and then you know you can tell me what works for you. But for me, how I deal with, you know, trying not to burn myself out because I do work a lot of hours, right? And so, first of all, I set some very low key, very low music, right? So in the background, I have a little bit of music playing. You know, I like classic rock and blues, but I also like classical music and jazz and everything. I any kind of music really, even elevator music, you know. So there's times I'm playing Bach and Beethoven, but it's very slow. It's on, you know, a level 4. You can just almost barely hear it. That way, it doesn't really interfere with conversations and stuff like that, but it's there in the background and it just kind of helps set it. I've also
Well,
noticed
yeah.
the tone of the music, right? You know, if you're playing head beater, bang, loud music and stuff like that, then all of a sudden you're going to be you know, it motivates you, sure, but maybe in the wrong direction. So I always try to keep an even kill on it.
Yeah, exactly. Your choice of music obviously is different for everyone, but I think that it
Exactly.
affects people similarly. You know, you are going to feel different things when you have music playing. That's why, you know, when you're doing something that maybe would require some deep thought and concentration, maybe that just having the music playing eases your subconscious so that you could be relaxed while you're working.
It does. You know, for me it does. And then the other thing is I do get up and I typically work for about 20-25 minutes. I'll take a 5 minute break, just step away for a minute, clear my mind. And that helps a lot because, you know, I'm writing stuff. I'm trying to articulate what I want to say. And so just stepping away for about 5 minutes, you know, grab a drink or whatever and just stop, take a break, and then
Yeah.
jump back into it. That actually does help me specifically a lot.
Yes, I've been in many seminars in business, you know, and this was definitely a topic. And one of the coaches was talking about, you know, if you feel like you can't get away from your desk or get up for an hour to take a walk or take a lunch break or something, he said, even if you just sit back in your chair and maybe turn your phone on silent and power off your computer or whatever, and just sit there for 10 minutes and plant your feet on the ground, relax your shoulders, and just take deep breaths, like even 4 deep breaths, and hold the breath and then exhale slowly. You let out all the stress in your body, and you're just feeling your body like fully relax in every, cell and every, bone in your body. Just hopefully you just become really relaxed. And if you could just do that for like 10 minutes, which isn't very long, you can even set the timer on your phone because some people might fall asleep.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try breathing.
Yeah,
Well,
breathing.
I do breathe, but I meant I'm going to try the deep breaths and try that.
I don't even realize it, but I tend to shrug my shoulders up when I'm thinking or working, or I'm, really intensely focused on a project. And that's why I'm like, oh my God, my neck is so tight. I get headaches. And just, you start realizing it. If you ever spend time with a masseuse or at the massage, you're like, oh my gosh, I think I walk around 24/7 with my shoulders shrugged up, I'm like tense all the time. And that's when you begin to realize it, is when you just take that 10 minutes and sit in your chair, and it can do an amazing results after that.
I've never had a massage, so I don't know.
You are very much deprived.
I've never had a massage. I don't really
relate to that.
I'm ticklish, right? So and I'm not into like deep tissue stuff.
I love deep tissue. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, that's another podcast.
That is something completely different, and we
won't touch that one.
No, and we won't have a topic on that one either.
No,
right?
But I mean, there's so many resources, even on YouTube, on your phone, that talks about breathing, and like a little 10-minute, refresher, like a meditative thing that you could do at your desk. You could just shut the door, tell your team, do not disturb. I'm on an important phone call, and you could just take your 10 minutes and relax. And then you come back and you could have this pleasant smile on your face and be able to tackle all of the rest of the things that you need to do for the day. Right. I have not done this. I have not done this. I do it at home. I do meditate at home before I start my day. And that actually impacts the rest of my day by meditating for 15 to 20 minutes in the morning. It makes a huge difference in my day. Just like working out at the gym impacts me on a physical level. I have more energy throughout the day. So those are the tips that I do to not burn out just on a daily basis, and then there's the weekly and the monthly. I try to incorporate networking, fun social activities, so that I'm seeing my colleagues and people in my industry on a very fun level. The Chamber of Commerce in Newport Beach has so many activities where we go to Pelican Hill and we play a round of golf or a little, at the putting, range or whatever. And they, incorporate music and, time for you to network with your colleagues. So you're actually having fun. I mean, they do social events on yachts, and they do happy hours on yachts and all these fun things. And so you're actually incorporating fun activities with your business partners. And it's just a great way to stay connected and not feel the burnout in your own, personal business. So you're actually, exposing yourself to the opportunity to learn from your colleagues at these events, so that you could maybe come back to the table with, incorporating some of their ideas and diversifying the way that you do things.
I look forward to doing some of those things with you, the yachts and stuff like that. But I did want to clarify, you did say meditate, not medicate, right?
Meditate? Oh, did you say medicate?
Yes.
So I'm an anti-drug person. I don't even like to go to the doctor. So I'm a person that will take garlic or peppermint before I will take any antibiotics. So that's me.
Please send a memo out around the office when you take garlic, so we know just to stay away from you.
Okay. I don't want to come across like a vampire, but yeah, I just learned garlic is like such a healing thing.
I do garlic and blue cheese.
What? Sounds like
blue cheese is like penicillin, right? I mean, so yeah. But I like blue cheese and I like garlic, so put those together. And that's what in the past has always kept me healthy. I kind of backed off of those, and maybe I need to get back on them.
Well, you look very healthy today.
I feel very healthy, and so I'm happy about that.
That's good.
My doctor's given me a clean bill of health, so I'm very excited about that.
That's fantastic. So Barry's a walking example of getting out of the burnout and the stress, and now he's in a healthy space. Yeah, I love it.
I'm getting there. I'll say that. But here's the one thing I want to mention, right? Don't think that having burnout is a badge of honor, right? Almost all business owners, they have some point of it, but it's not a badge of honor. It's really not, And how can you, I mean, you want to set the ground to be successful and stuff like that. And if you have all this stuff going on, it's just dragging you down. So you got to find a way to kind of release it and get rid of it and stuff like that, right?
Are you talking about those people that walk around and say, "Oh my God, I just did this, I did that. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Oh my God, I spent 12 hours at work yesterday and those clients were calling me until midnight." You talking about those people?
Yeah, I am talking about those. But but even just thinking to yourself, I
Yeah.
mean, you and you know what you're capable of, and your timelines and stuff like that. And I know me, and I know that, okay, honestly, I'm a guy that works well under pressure.
Yeah.
Actually, I work better under pressure than not, but I'm
Right.
also a very analytical type of guy too, right? So
Hmm.
and you've said this to me so many times. I like to, plan out, spell. This is step A, step B, step C, and you're like, Barry,
Yeah.
just get it done.
Yeah. I'm like, that's Japanese. Yeah. That's a foreign language to me.
Yes, yeah. So so for me, when it comes to the burnout and the stress, I know that I can tolerate a lot, but I also know that I have to step back and I have to
Yeah.
just take a little bit of time for me.
Well, when you said step back, something popped in my mind. Stepping back allows you the time to reflect on all of the things that you did do, and maybe that's a great opportunity to give yourself a pat on the back and go, "Oh my gosh, I accomplished so much today, or I had a productive day." I mean, part of being, reinstilling some energy in your body is by giving yourself um, gratitude for what you've accomplished, or a pride in your work. Like, take a moment to recognize that, so you're not getting burnt out. You're going to be like energized by just that, having that thought, like, wow, I really did great today. If your husband or wife, or maybe you're not married or you live alone or whatever, isn't there to tell you that, like, you got to tell yourself that.
True, and you made a point, right? Self-prizing yourself
Mm-hmm.
is is important. I mean, when you've done a good job, and I'm artistic, I'm a musician. To me, and I work on several things and they're never finished, or they always could be just a little bit better, right? And it's trying to find that sweet spot or that little area where, okay, I can release this and let the whole world see it now. That's a hard sometimes to obtain, and you can
Yes,
stress out over that, right? So
exactly.
so maybe you need to write down, and I'm talking kind of off the cuff here, off the hip, for myself, really, in the sense that maybe I should write something down. Okay, this is where the point is good, where I can back off.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because for me, it's always fine tuning, and then especially when I'm writing something like I'm working on a book and stuff like that, and I've already rewritten one chapter 3 different times because it's got the gist of what I wanted to say, but then I'm like, oh, but I want to add that, and then
Yeah.
oh, I need to change this, and then oh, I want to add a case study in there,
That is
and
so funny, because it's like you go back and read it and you go, "Why did I write that? I want to say this instead." And then you keep making it better and better, right? It's a process. It's totally a process.
well, you hope you make it better. I mean, I hear stories of people make it worse. It was great
No.
to start with, and they dummied it down. But I don't, I just know that for me and how I operate is, so I got the rough draft done, and then I go back, and then yeah, now I'm sitting on a chapter or whatever, and it's been rewritten 3 different times.
Yes. So let's recap on the 5 entrepreneur burnout recovery strategies. 5 entrepreneur burnout recovery strategies. That's a mouthful. So that we can make sure we did speak to these pain points, Barry. Setting boundaries with your schedule, stopping available 24/7. Do not work after 8 p.m. People aren't going to, think less of you. I believe I've actually lost a client working after 8 p.m. because they were like, "Don't you have other things to do?" And they wanted me to be at full throttle. They didn't want me working when I'm tired. So they fired me, actually. I learned a lesson from that experience.
Wow.
Taking a day off, take a full day off, go put your feet in the sand, go take a ferry to Catalina Island, take a bike ride, do something that's totally fun, whatever it could be. People go snow skiing now that there's snow. take a day off, go have some fun. Then you could have some great conversations when you go back to the coffee machine or the water cooler at work, and you could talk about what you experienced with your clients and connect with your customers and your colleagues. So setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries is really, really good. The
Yeah.
next one is, delegating and also automating, right? So
Oh, yeah.
you as a business owner, you're building a team, right? So let them do the work that you hired them to do. You don't have to do it all by yourself, right?
I know.
Outsource the things, delegate the things that drain your energy, right? Or
Yeah.
the things you don't like to do, right? Maybe you don't like to do it, but your employee he likes to do it, so or she likes to do it, so let him do it.
Yeah, and there's an app for everything, you guys. You can outsource it to an app that will automate it for you. That will automate it for you. Yeah.
AI has been doing a lot of good things for business. Yeah, so definitely take a look into that, and then make sure that you train your team, right? Make sure that if you are going to delegate to them, train them so that they can take over. At a
Right,
certain
exactly.
point, as the business owner, you don't want to be there, right? You want the employees to run the shop or the
Exactly.
store or whatever it is in your absence. So
Yeah.
you got to plan for that and train them so that they can do that, and then give them the responsibility of doing that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So then you could take some stuff off your plate and then you'll be able to have more boundaries. These all
Right?
go hand in hand. They all
They
go hand in
do.
hand. So
They
step back
do.
and evaluate where you might need to incorporate one of these tools into your recovery strategy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so we got set boundaries, automate and delegate. And the third one is being healthy, like physically and mentally and spiritually healthy. So, having a better diet, getting your exercise routine back into play, making sure you're getting enough hours of sleep at night.
So this is one I have to work on, right? Hands down. There was a time that I was up every day at 3 o'clock in the morning. Didn't matter. I was up. I'd go to bed at 11 o'clock. I'd wake up at 3. I normally worked off of 4 hours of sleep for a long time. However, that has changed recently. And now, if on the weekends, hell, I can sleep to 8 o'clock. And I'm
Wow,
like, what?
that's
Where'd my
not
morning
you.
go? Because I'm so used to doing stuff in the morning, getting up, reading my emails, answering emails, checking the news, all that stuff. And now I'm like, what? The sun's up. What's going on here?
Yeah, sleep hours is so important. And it's a telltale sign whether you're stressed, because if you're not able to sleep, you're obviously trying to work some stuff out in your head in the middle of the night. And so having good sleep, like you mentioned, is a sign that you're healthy, right?
Right, definitely so. Um, so yeah, exercise, right? So I've started walking 5 miles a day.
You're walking 5 miles?
5 miles a day, yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, we all have those apps on our phones where it tracks how many steps we do. And I think
Yeah.
to have a healthy, active lifestyle, you have to have a minimum of 10,000 steps a day.
So
A
I'm
minimum.
doing about 13,000. And so the average pace for people is about 2.5 feet for every step you take.
Yeah.
And so basically every 2,000 miles, you're walking a mile.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
if you do 10,000 steps in a day, you've walked 5 miles.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
that's
normally
cool.
doing about 13.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. Well,
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're doing that. That's great because that's different. You used to sit at a computer all day and you never get any steps and you were just like not having good health, right?
Right.
So,
The only thing that's getting any steps in is my keister sitting on the chair.
oh my gosh. You're
so,
so
so
funny.
so the next one, and also back to this one, health is eating right. And I've been trying to do that myself, but there's days I eat bad.
Yeah, like you want to stay away from DoorDash. You want to stay away from, the food that just sits there and you can't process it, especially if you're not walking. So there's some, food tips. Google it. You could eat fresh, almonds with no salt. That's going
I,
to help your brain stimulation and it helps your focus,
I've
right?
really started taking a passion for cooking.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen my Facebook feed, but I put a lot of recipes out there now of stuff I try. A lot of slow cooker and one pan dishes.
Oh, wow. No, I haven't checked it out. I'll have to see if you have any recipes posted because we all could incorporate
Oh,
some.
I do.
Yeah.
There's a bunch in there, and I try to do one a week, and so
Nice.
I've got a bunch of slow cooker stuff. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, cool, Barry. Well, check it out, you guys. Barry's Facebook page, and then you can
and
come up with something.
I like the fact when I cook it myself, I know what's going in it, right? When you go to a restaurant or whatever, you don't know what you're getting. You
That
don't
is
know
so
what they're
true.
putting in it and stuff like that. So I know I've got, really nice lean chicken breast going in there. Okay, I'm going to put noodles in there. So there's the starch and stuff like that. But, I know all the other ingredients that are going in there and they're not processed and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. So we got set
So
boundaries, automate, delegate, get your health back. And number 4 is reconnect with your passion and why you started the business.
how do you do that?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, taking time to kind of reflect on things, right? And giving yourself praise and then
Yeah.
reconnecting with all of the things that you did to get to where you are and looking at the big picture. Hey, where am I going? Help yourself get remotivated.
Yeah, that's it. And that motivation can take any form. For me, it's that low line music in there, right? It keeps me at an even keel, but it also motivates me and it gets my creative juices flowing. And that's what I thrive on.
Nice. Yeah,
So the last one is seek support, right? And that's where you and I come in, right? We're your support.
right.
Reach out to Lisa or myself. We are coaches and mentors. We can help you in various different ways. Lisa is a licensed life coach. I am
Yes.
not, but she is. But I'm a business coach, right? So business wise, but still, we're there to help you.
Absolutely. Definitely are not alone. It takes a
You
team to run your business. So, and
it
keep your mind
just
straight, right? We all got to work on keeping our mind straight and getting to the point where we are aware of these 5 steps, to help you in burnout situations. And some of these steps can intertwine into your personal life as well. I mean,
right.
they always do actually. So,
They do. I mean, it's some people are really good about self-help books, and some people hate self-help books. And we're not trying to project that on you or anything, but yet we are trying to help you. And sometimes, it's hard to help somebody who doesn't know they need help yet, right?
exactly. Yes. So, don't be shy. Give
Yeah,
us a call or reach out
please.
to us.
You can catch us at investquire.com, Lisa or myself.
Mhm.
And also, you can find us on the Facebook group of the Biz Show.
Yes, and please subscribe to our podcast so we can increase our listeners, everyone.
Please, we definitely would appreciate that.
Tell your friends about us. There could be a good message in there for somebody. You could help somebody. So pay it forward. Have a great day.
All right, guys, bye.